Hey guys, it's Melissa with Sunday Chats with Melissa, and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. If you're family, thank you so much for stopping back by. Today is going to be my Sunday chat for April 5th, 2020, while we are smack dab in the middle of a pandemic. So normally the format of this is I do a little bit of talking about things that I've been doing this week, things that are important to me, new things that I've discovered, or some changes that I've made. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, please keep watching. All right, so here we are. It's another Sunday, or is it? Is it Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday? Don't they all seem the same anymore? You know, it's kind of like Groundhog Day. Just kind of wake up and do the same thing over and over again. So I know a lot of us are home. A lot of us are not working. Our schedules have been drastically modified. Some of us have lost our jobs, myself included, and some of us are working and getting paid. So I think this is a tough time for people in general. The people that are sitting at home, yes, we're safe from the virus, and but emotionally I think a lot of people are suffering, and they're suffering more than I think other people know. And this is an unprecedented times, and people don't know how to manage this, how to get through this. And then there are people who are on the front lines, and they're in constant contact with the virus, and they're also separated from their families, some of them, and then they have to take those precautions, you know, when they do go home to their families. And so no one is having it easy here, you know, no one. But for people who suffer from depression and who suffer from anxiety, this can set them into a downward spin. And you can find yourself in a rabbit hole that where you can't see the light. It's not shining anywhere. And so I say, if that's you and you are feeling that way, please tell someone, and please have them reach out for you if you can't do it yourself. There's people that can help you. There's people that you can talk to. I don't think that people are being selfish in this time. I think people don't know. And what I say to you is, check on your friends that are normally strong. Check on your friends that normally say, I got this. Check on your friends that say, I don't need you, I got it. Check on them. Because they're the ones sitting over there thinking they can handle it. They're the ones sitting over there saying, I got this. And they think they do. So check on them. You know, as I was watching a little bit of TV this morning, and I was watching Super Soul Sunday, and Oprah had on, let me pull her up really quick because I know I'm going to mispronounce her name, but she is a nun, and her name is, and I hope I'm saying this correctly, Pema Chodron, and she's an American nun. And they were talking about her book, When Things Fall Apart. And I think for a lot of us, things are falling apart. And sometimes it's just not one thing. Sometimes it's a lot of things that are falling apart. But as you push through, and as you stay strong as you can. And listen, for me, strong is moment by moment, minute by minute. I'm not concerned about what I have to do tonight, or tomorrow, or Tuesday, or whatever other day comes this week. I'm not concerned with any of that. I'm concerned with making it moment through moment, hour by hour. That's what I'm concerned with right now. And I'm not going to be hard on myself for thinking otherwise. But for many of us that find ourselves alone and without human interaction, especially people like me who are people and are used to being around people, this is tough. And when things start to go awry, you kind of don't know how to handle it. And sometimes it's just like a domino effect. Just one thing leads to another, leads to another. And so I mentioned on my Thursday chat, if you saw it, and if you didn't, just that getting out of bed for me and putting one foot in front of the other and putting clothes on and sitting in front of this camera is really about all I can muster. It really is. And for some people, that's probably a really big deal. But for me, I can get stuff done. I can move, and I am on the run all the time. So for me, I used to do my Sunday chats before I did 78 other things. Go to work, go out, grocery shop, clean, laundry, whatever. I did this as a side, just something else that needed to be done. It was on my list to do. I loved it, but it was just on my list to do. And now it's like I get up to do it. I sleep later and later every day because what I need to get up for, But as I go through this week and I go through my last week of really tough emotional choices, in this book where Oprah was talking about when things fall apart with the nun, she said the people that humiliate you and hurt you the most are actually, in retrospect, your greatest teachers. Isn't that right? Isn't the people who hurt us and humiliated us and squashed us down, aren't they the greatest teachers because we rose from that, because we continued through that, because we went through that and became who we are today? Whether we like it or not, whether other people like it or not, all of those situations taught us. And I'm a firm believer in that we grow and get better. I do. I think we grow and get better. It may not be better for other people. It may not be better for those people who humiliated us and took advantage of us and didn't like us. It might not be better for them because we finally tell them to hit the road. But we're better for us. And after that show, Alicia Keys was on, and she was speaking about her book as well. And one of the things that she said in her book, which I didn't even know she had a book. I mean, anyway, I had no idea I had no idea so many people had books. But anyway, in her book, she said, when you love someone, you have to love their journey. The journey that it took for them to get to where they are today. It's all part of the journey. The hurt, the pain, the struggle, the humiliation, the hard times, the didn't think you were going to make it through. It all makes us who we are today. It all puts us to where we are. And so if you meet somebody and they say, oh, I wish I would have known you, you're like, no, you don't. Because I'm not the person I was today then. Oh, I wish I would have. Remember when? I'm not that person anymore. I'm not that person you knew. When you meet somebody from your past or somebody from your past, oh, remember? Yeah, I remember, but that's not me anymore. I don't know that person anymore. That was a long time ago. And so I say to you today, as you're gripping, grappling, figuring, doing whatever you need to do to take care of yourself, please be gentle. Please. Just one day at a time. 1 minute at a time, 1 moment at a time, whatever you need, you take it. Okay. All right. So that was a lot of chatting today. So let me move on to some things that I have found that have made my life a little bit better and a little bit easier this week. And one of the things that I really, really love, and these are my iPods. No, they're my AirPods. They're not my iPods. I love them. I don't know why I waited so long to purchase them. I probably had them about a year now. They're great for walking. I have my Beats, my wireless Beats, but they're big and they're bulky. And what's really nice is when you go out and you do a walk with somebody, you can actually share your music because one can wear one and one can wear the other one. And so that's really nice. And plus, also you can still hear with them in. And they're great for conferences. They're great for talking on your cell phone so you don't have to hold it. I mean, They're just great. So if you don't already have a set, get yourself some. I do recommend that you get a case, something akin to this. I did have one that just covered the lid, and I had them on my keychain, and I lost one of the earbuds. And it cost about $70 to replace one of the earbuds. So I invested in a case that has a snap lid, and I was glad I did. So that's, those are one of the things that I absolutely have been loving. And then I love fragrance. I love all kinds of fragrance. And as I was cleaning out some drawers not too long ago, I came across some samples that I guess I got from Sephora or somewhere. I can't imagine. But the one that I found that I loved the most was called Toka. And I never even heard of it before. And I just found it in this cup of samples that I had in a drawer. And I'm thinking, where have you been all my life? You smell delicious. And I'm a long time wearer of Philosophy products. I do the Fresh Cream. Amazing Grace is my staple. There's Pure Grace and Falling in Love and the Ballet Rose. And so the majority of my fragrance comes from Philosophy. And I have been wearing those for nearly 2 decades. And I love them. But this particular fragrance I wore, and I've worn it all day for a couple of days now. And I really think it's something that I need. I think a new fragrance is helpful. And speaking of fragrance, something else that, and these are not new, but these are like little atomizers that you can purchase in a set. I think they come in like a set of 6 or 8 or something. And the way you use them is you take the top off, and there's like a little spray bottle, but you fill them with your favorite perfume. So this was the perfume that just got me for Christmas that I love. It's Michael Kors. So you just take the lid off of your perfume that you like, and you remove the little spray piece like that. And then on the bottom of these is this clear place where you put it over top of this, and then you spray this into your atomizer. And then it fills it up, and then you can put it in your purse, or you can put it in your work bag, or wherever. And then you have like a little bottle of it to go. Or if you're going on a trip, it's a great way for you to be able to take some perfume with you and not have to carry your big bottles and worry about them getting broken or leaking in your luggage. I have several of them, so I label them on the bottom with a Sharpie, and I didn't put anything in here because this one has Falling in Love in it. So anyway, that's a really nice way to have some fragrances that's portable. Also, I happen to like Tory Burch's fragrances, and I wanted to try them all out to see which one I liked the best. So I picked up this rollerball set from Ulta, and I think there was another one. There was a set of 3, and I picked them up to see which one I liked best before I made my purchase. And I really enjoy having just that little simple little thing of fragrance that cost me maybe $20 of investment, because there's nothing worse than investing in fragrance that you figure out after a while you don't even really like. You know? So I love that. Also this week, a couple of things that I had picked up after I had done some searching and some snooping around the internet and YouTube was I picked up this Smashbox. This is the Photo Primer, Photo Finish Hydrating Under Eye Primer, and I didn't realize how hydrating this would actually be. I have a lot of concealers and I've used them before, and some of them say they're really hydrating, but this takes the cake. I just use a very small amount of that and just go under my under eye area, and then I topped it with this Winky Lux powder. I have read on the internet that this is a pretty good dupe for the Charlotte Tilbury finely pressed powder that people set under their eyes with. And this one is called Diamond Powders, and it says Diamond Powders are a girl's best friend, and this is in medium. And what I did was just take a small brush, and after my primer dried, I just patted it under my eyes. And I've not tried the Charlotte Tilbury one, but what I can tell you about this one is that it doesn't settle in my fine lines. It doesn't cake up under my eyes. And so those are things that I understand that the Charlotte Tilbury did, and kind of what we all want. So this Winky Lux for me has been a really good little product, and I'm glad that I came upon that. Okay, so also on today, well, let me just tell you briefly what I did today for my really simple look. Sorry, I'm really trying to stay in focus. Of course, I started out with my Tatcha, Lordy, I forgot the name of it. The silk canvas. So I started out with that. And then I used my Makeup Revolution sample that I got from Sephora. My number is 244. I'm using this so sparingly so that I can go and get some when the stores finally open back up. I know I can order it online, but I'm really kind of holding out for the day where I could actually go into a store and try things again. I really am holding out for that day. And so I did use that. I applied it with a my Eco Tools sponge that I wet with some lavender water, and then I topped that with my Wet n Wild Photo Focus pressed powder, and then I used these really cool. They're called Cheek Heat, and they're a gel cream blush, and the one that I use today is called Nude Burn. And then I also picked up this other one that is called Coral Ardent. So I got these two today, and what I did was I used this Sigma, it's a duo fiber, the F50, how it has these little, it's really separate there, and I just rubbed it on the back of my hand, and then I applied it to my cheeks. I went under that with a little bit of my Maybelline City Bronzer, which I thought was sitting right here. Here it is, my Maybelline City Bronzer. I went underneath with that along the jaw lines and a little bit up on the hairline. And then I lined my lids with my Urban Decay liner and of course my Superhero It mascara. And then on my lips I have Spicy Plum by Maybelline. And it's not in the little tube, it's in this kind of thing. And I really like it. It's pretty and it's moisturizing, and I think it's just a really pretty pinky kind of neutral, you know, not really peach or pink. I think it's a really nice nude. So that is what I did. And then on my eyes, I used my NYX Lid Lingerie. I just used this center color here. They don't have names, but it's this kind of purple color. And I just added that to my lid with a loose brush, and then that was it. That's kind of all I did today, because I'm going to go for a walk after this, and I don't need to be fully faced out to go for a walk. But some other things that I've been using this week that I'm really excited about is I did try the Isle of Paradise tanning self drops. I got these in the light color, and you actually drop them into your moisturizer. So whatever moisturizer you use, it came with one if you wanted to use it with that one, but I found it very difficult to use. This is not my first time using a bronzer, but I felt like there was no way to see where you had already put it. I did all of the things that you should do before you self bronze, and if you don't know those, it's you need to exfoliate, whether it's shaving or using a loofah or one of those scrubby sponges. And then I moisturize really good on the rough spots, like, you know, your knees and your ankles and all the places that are dry that will normally absorb your bronzing product. And I moisturized very heavily and went over those places very lightly, you know. And I still found it to be very blotchy and very sketchy. And so I don't recommend it. I'm going to use it when I get a little bit of a base myself, and then I think that would be okay to just kind of keep your regular tan going. But this Ocean Potion Everglow is a great product. It's just a daily self tanner. You just apply it like your lotion. You really can't make too many mistakes. When you're first starting, you want to make sure that you're kind of covering everything and you know, washing your hands afterwards. But for the most part, it's really kind of easy peasy after you have a base. So anyway, I really like that. I don't know why I keep wandering from that. It's like, I don't know, $8.99 or something from Target, and it keeps saying, I don't know why you keep leaving me and trying other things. But I did. So, anyway, other than trying some self-tanning and being a failure at that, I have been doing some creating, and I use this book. It's called The Happy Hooker, and it has the most beautiful crochet patterns in it. And I picked a scarf pattern that I particularly like out of it, and here is one of them. It's just a really thin, kind of scalloped edge scarf, and I made several in different colors just with yarn that I already had in my stash. So I've been doing that, and then I've also been journaling and just kind of getting some stuff out of my head and onto paper. And so I've been using my journal for that. And I think sometimes it's real important for us to be able to do that, just to get kind of the stuff that's in our head out of it and just kind of settle into clearing our mind as much as possible. And sometimes, just like when you talk to a friend and you tell your friend things and you're like, oh, I'm so glad to get that out of my head and off my chest. It's the same thing with writing, except sometimes you don't want to say to your friends what you have inside your head because it's scary and you just don't. And then I've been using these beautiful woodless color pencils to just kind of color in the corners of my journal, just for a little bit of creativity and a little bit of just kind of, you know, something to pass the time and something to just remember this time when I go back and look at this journal. And when we all come out of this, time of quarantine and self-help and self-look and fear and anxiety and all that, when we come out of all that, I think it'll be real important for us to not forget what happened during it and what happened prior to it, and then how we should act after it. So that's what I've been doing to kind of keep myself busy. I also, along with my AirPods and my iPhone, I'm also an iPad girl. And so this has kind of been my lifeline to social media and other people and FaceTime and House Party and TikTok and videos of little kids singing "Don't Worry About Anything, Everything is going to be all right." I think that in this time where a lot of us are alone, where a lot of us are used to being with people and we're not, I think we need to find a means to connect with other people however we can. And if you're suffering from anxiety or you're suffering from a depression and you feel like you need help, please tell somebody. And if you feel like you can't contact somebody on your own, have somebody else do it for you. There's a myriad of numbers that you can call for various reasons that have been set up for times just as this. And don't be embarrassed about how you're feeling. Don't be embarrassed about how you're coping, because if you're like me, we've never had to cope with something like this before. And don't be ashamed and don't be prideful, because it's hard. It's really hard. You know, for me, I'm just good putting one foot in front of the other and putting some clothes on and getting in front of this camera. And, you know, like I've said before, doing this would have just been something that I did before I did 10,000 other things. And now, if I can crawl out of bed and do this, I'm doing something. And put some clothes on and some makeup. So, I think we're getting close to our 30 minutes. And so what I want to say to you is be kind to yourself. Whatever work you need to do during this time, do it. Whatever help you need to ask for during this time, ask for it. Make sure you're eating properly. Make sure you're staying hydrated. Making sure you're keeping in contact with somebody that cares. about your well-being. And so before I sign off and before we go about our week, let me just read you a little something that I felt like was really pertinent to taking care of ourselves. And it's this: agreeing to things to just keep the peace is actually a trauma response. When you do this, you're disrespecting your boundaries. No more making yourself uncomfortable for others' comfortability. Take up your space and use your voice. And that's with anyone and everyone. Do not make yourself uncomfortable, not one more second, in an effort to make somebody else more comfortable when it crosses your boundaries, when it makes your boundaries less. Because the only people that have problems when you change your boundaries are the people that are used to crossing them. So when you set your boundaries for yourself, you do that. You use your voice, you say what you need to say, and you take up your space. And you plant your feet and you say no more. I'll no longer be uncomfortable because you are. Because really, how people react to you has a lot less to do with you and more to do with them. And when we're hurt and people say hurtful things to us and people hurl awful things towards us, it's hard. It's hard to not believe it. Grief will make you believe it. Anxiety will make you believe it. Hurt will make you believe it. But we have to be still in ourselves. And we have to realize, as hard as it is, and sometimes it might take days before you realize it, before you realize that how someone treated you had 100% more to do with them than it does with you. It might take you days. It might take you buckets of tears and tissues and journaling and hard work and pain and self-doubt and anxiety. It might take all of those things. It might take days. It might take weeks for you to figure out it was about them. It's not you. It's not you. So, take good care of yourself this week. I will see you again over on Instagram at Sunday Chats with Melissa. If you haven't already done so, you can subscribe down below. And if you ring the bell, you'll get notifications every time I upload videos, which is Tuesdays, Thursdays, and of course Sundays for my Sunday chats. So until we see each other again, and until we chat again, I love you. Take good care.